The initiatives in and around Weston I've been involved in since I came into the role with Dowlass, which is now about 8 years ago. I needed some support from external influencers. Obviously, when I came into the business, I was relatively young and quite naive, and I was trying to break ground in areas where there was no buildings at that particular point in time.
So when I first moved to Bristol, I didn't know anyone, and a couple of people told me about the Bristol Junior Chamber, so I thought it would be a good organisation to join. The advantage of joining the Junior Chamber was not only creating a social friendship for myself, but also building up business connections and learning about the initiative and the wider Bristol business community. I think the benefits the initiative provides to its members is the opportunities to move between the various different chambers and networking groups within Bristol, and also I think the initiative's putting Bristol on the map.
So on a personal level, I've been involved in the initiative on and off for about 3 years in a range of roles. As a West of England business, we feel that it's really important to be part of that network and the conversations that happen about the region. It is a very well connected, influential network of business people who are committed to the region, understand the region, and want the best for the region.
Well, I came back to Bristol in 2014 to take over First West of England, but actually I was here in Bristol in the 1990s as well. Then, as now, really keen to be part of something that is right at the forefront of business life in this part of the world. For me, it's the organisation that sort of fronts up for the area, that represents us as business people and puts forward our interests, plays for us and hopefully wins for us.
Joined the Chamber at a previous law firm in about 1996, so just over 20 years ago. I met up with someone called Peter Floyd, who was the chair of the planning group at the Chamber at the time, and I could just see that it was an organisation that was doing things that very differently in this area. Being chair of the planning group, you have to know, finger on the pulse in the city, but also the wider sub-region. What people get out of that is, firstly, you're able to, you don't miss anything. So we try and cover across the board what's happening, whether it's big applications, whether it's new policies coming through. But secondly, and I think more importantly, is the input that we are able to influence the direction of policy. We hold the councillors' feet to the fire. I can't think of any other organisation actually that is that active in terms of trying to do things better, to have a more sustainable future for our children and their children and children's children.
I joined the initiative about 14 years ago when I first came to work in Bristol. I think the initiative has done for me over many years has connected me to the city, it's connected my business to the city, it's created a great opportunity for networking, but really importantly, it's created an opportunity for my business to get involved in issues that impact the city. We feel that we can contribute and make a difference.
It went back to John Savage, and I remember going to a meeting at the time, and he explained it was like the next generation of a Chamber of Commerce, which excited me, and I felt as a combined force we could help the city and do something good. I would say the initiative looks at the bigger picture, just gets everybody working together, but on the long-term planning. I see it as the overarching thinking man's part, which you do need. You can't work short-term and you can't work on an annual budget. We have to look at 20-year plans and 25-year plans and 30-year plans, and how we integrate with the big things like Bristol Airport and the port. And the initiative enables individual businesses like me to be involved in that and contribute.
I joined the Chamber when our company was really little, so back in the 90s, I think, late 90s. I wanted to be part of something bigger, and because I truly believe that business is a force for good and it's an untapped potential. Personally, the initiative has shown me that I do have a voice in spite of being a micro business and someone that ordinarily you wouldn't look at to think that you could make change. But what it's shown me is that as part of a bigger organisation that is moving towards positive change, we can achieve a lot together.
First got involved with the initiative 5 years ago when Teach first launched in the Southwest, and Business West were particularly helpful in telling us about the employment landscape, but also introducing us to businesses in the area so that we could forge stronger relationships between our partner schools and businesses in the area.
I got involved in the initiative about 4 years ago. I came from a business background and I wanted to connect with other businesses. The initiative is a great place for business leaders to meet from the whole of the Southwest and beyond. It's a place to learn about what's going on in business. It's a place also to share business intelligence, the intelligence which can actually make a difference to the decisions that we want to make in the future. It gives business leaders a voice to say, what do we want it to look like, and how can we do it?
I was president of the Chamber of Commerce at the time the initiative was formed. Having been a member of the board of the Chamber, dare I say it, from 1971. I thought it was a brilliant idea. During my presidency of the Chamber, we reached what I call absolutely deadlock with the local politicians, and I saw this as an opportunity to do something to break the deadlock. Harbourside, it was a difficult project, and I think that they've done a marvellous job there, and something which perhaps the private sector couldn't have done, because it was about partnership working with local authorities who owned all the land, and it's a question of getting the thinking together.
I think the initiative is bringing all the businesses in the west of England together. It's a nice, friendly, informative meeting group. And it's a pleasure to be part of. My First Mile, this is a new service that we're trialling in Bristol, and it's actually bringing people closer to buses. So it's a taxi service that picks people up from local stops, get to a stop, go in a shared taxi, onward travel on the bus. Main reason why we're doing this is to try and tackle the horrendous congestion we've got in Bristol, trying to get people to travel sustainably and to improve air quality. The initiative, James Drury in particular, has been a great supporter, and they're promoting it through the businesses and through the local communities, hoping that we can have more My First Mile areas. What we want to do is get the service to the people that want to use it, so we can make a real difference.
It just provides a bit of a backbone, I suppose, when I need to turn to people that are better qualified than I am in certain areas. I can pick up the phone to people or send them an email and get some support in the areas that I need it at the time. And the first building that went up was the Nightstone Housing Association headquarters, which at the time was one of the largest offices to go up outside of London in the UK. We then did a pub restaurant. We've built out the new Avon and Somerset Police headquarters at Western Gateway Business Park as well. Just completed on a spec-led unit, which is now fully occupied, only completed on 2 weeks ago. And we're about to hopefully break ground on Western's first 4-star hotel.
So because I'm still a relatively new member to the initiative, the biggest thing the initiative has done is increasing the infrastructure. I think the work they're doing in terms of helping to increase employment, helping the Junior Chamber in particular, show our members what there is available in Bristol and being able to work together, I think is fundamental, so that members of the Junior Chamber can progress after they hit the maximum for the junior, moving to the initiative and carry on within the business community.
So the hopes for the businesses that we continue to grow in the way that we're doing, but we'll continue to be members of the initiative certainly, and we will hope to work closely with the members of the network also.
Well, the great thing for me and for us has been that being part of the initiative gives us credibility, gives us contacts, gives us the ability to talk to other business people. Well, I think that this part of the world has a very wonderful future, has a very prosperous future, and the initiative, I'm sure, will continue to add strength to that and make sure that people who live and work here get the best out of being part of it, and that the business community thrives in the way that it needs to.
There's a lot of small things that we, just general nudging things in one direction or the other. When you talk about bigger things, I would say two. The first is actually getting the South Bristol Link Road through. The other one, which I think others may have mentioned, is the 2050 vision. Again, in the planning world, having that sort of vision that people can latch onto for a longer term, because we all work in very short-term spans. But I think that was a seminal moment, actually, in the initiative's history.
I think the one big opportunity that the initiative has brought to the area is the work we did in 2011 to create the 2050 vision. I think it has set the framework and the strategy as to where we take the city region over many years, and that work is really permeating through many of the initiatives that politicians and other businesses and leaders are taking forwards.
Setting up business centres, specialist business centres, trying to work with the local unitary authorities to bring them together on the critical stuff all the time. There would be no representation of business if it wasn't for the Western Initiative, and then obviously links with people like Steve Weston and Huey. There wouldn't be this link with business and those organisations that are vital. They feed in the new blood into our organisations. We're seeing a whole different change, and it's the speed of change. Whether we're up for it, we're going to have to be. And the days of a job for life are gone. We're probably looking at a career for 5 years. Training people to be versatile and not risk averse. And I'm finding we've still got too much risk aversion locally, and that's no good. We've got to get out of that. We've got to be excited by change. And that's where the initiative can come in and stimulate and perhaps be the catalyst for that.
So the 2050 vision has been awesome, purely because of its ability to highlight things that should have happened, are happening already, and we hope will happen. It's about setting high aspirations for a city that deserves that success. For me personally, it was the initiative support in the referendum back in 2012 for a directly elected mayor, and we're seeing the changes for that. And they are controversial, but they are about strong leadership getting things done.
We've had a really good partnership with Business West over the last 5 years, and I'm pleased to say that we held our 5-year anniversary event in Lee Court. I'm really hoping that we can work more closely with Business West and other like-minded individuals who want to bring schools and employers together in meaningful ways in order to help the next generation be able to make good choices about what they study and what they go on to do, and really to make sure that that next workforce has all the information at its fingertips to make the right decisions, so that those young people end up making really, really valuable contributions to this region.
Personally, I got involved about 6 years ago, but the company has been involved for lots of years. David Mellor, who is now one of the vice presidents of the initiative, was a director of Alec French Architects when I joined. I think that the world is about networks, and one of the better networks in Bristol is undoubtedly the initiative. As far as we're concerned, it's a very good enabler. So they're very good at putting people together, creating environments at which people get together. I just think that it's very easy for people to go their own way unless there's an organisation like the initiative that's linking all these people together deliberately. So I think that's a really important element. The world is getting more complicated and more pressured, and actually in a funny sort of way that makes organisations like this even more important. I think it will go from strength to strength.
Business West has really supported my work. They've supported me with 91 Ways to Build a Global City. That's a charity that I founded because it's about getting really into the grassroots and getting businesses that are in Bristol working together. Business West has supported me on board. It really believes that diversity is important, that diversity is something that can actually increase businesses' profitability. And my hope is that all the businesses that sit under the initiative will come together and support on board, and we can all stand up together and say to the rest of the UK, as business leaders, we really believe in diversity, we really want to make a change. Here we are demonstrating this, come and look at what we do, and with our collective strength we can really make a change here.
I think that it's done lots for the less fortunate young people, to allow them to reach their potential, and for the old people who are isolated and lonely, and above all for housing. There is no doubt about it that the initiative has managed to achieve what I think everything I wanted to achieve in delivery. Particularly, first of all, the vision, which is encapsulated in the 2050 vision. Secondly, it's touched the people that I wanted to touch. The housing for the homeless, skills, and all those things have been covered by the initiative in a way which we couldn't have done in the normal way. Charities can do so much, but the businesses need to speak as one voice and deliver, and that's what it's all about.